Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome to a bonus episode of Let's Play Sonic Adventure 2. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the extra things that we can do now that we've beaten the game. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into things here. So what I want to do is I want to head over into the help and options and go to extras, because here we see an option that's called emblem results. This is where you can see every single emblem that you have collected here in Sonic Adventure 2, and that goes for every single character along with their individual stories. And we can see there's a lot of different emblems that we can get, one of them being tied to the A ranks for every level for every character. So in total, there's 180 emblems in the game, and you get one for also completing each story mode as well. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in Sonic Adventure 2 once you beat the main story. It's not just playing every level at least once. So as we can see, we got a bunch of mini games here, which we'll definitely be taking a look at all those. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the meat of today's video. So into the one player mode here, we can go back in the story, and once you beat the story for each said individual here, we can go ahead and select a scene select here. So once you beat Hero Story, you get scene selects from their said story. Being Dark Story will give you the scene select from them, and then same for Last Story as well. So say at this point we want to go ahead and jump back into the Hero Story. Say we want to go to the point where Sonic and friends are getting ready to head to Space Colony Arc. Well, we can select the Shuttle Blastoff scene here, and this will take us to the Egg Golem fight, which is right before Sonic and friends take off to outer space. So if we want to refight the Egg Golem, we can go ahead and do so here, but that's not what we're going to be doing. Instead, we're going to be heading over to the stage select and playing one of the stages here. So in stage select, we can go ahead and play any of the stages that we've beaten in story mode. But notice how we only have one mission complete out of the total of 5 here selected on Iron Gate. Well, that's simply because you can only do the first mission for every stage in story mode. Here in the stage select menu, you have access to 4 new missions now that we can go ahead and take care of. So without any further ado, let's jump into the first level here and go to mission number 2. So mission 2 here is to collect 100 rings, and this is the same for every character here in the game. So once you collect 100 rings, that's when the mission ends. Luckily, you do not have to worry about your score here if you're going for the A rank. Rankings are based on how fast you complete the second mission here, so we just gotta do this as fast as we can to get the best ranking. And these missions can kind of change difficulty depending on the stage. Some stages are easier compared to others to get 100 rings fast. Since this is the first stage in the game, City Escape really isn't that hard to get all the rings. And luckily, we have extra powers here as well, so I recommend doing these extra missions when you do have an access to all of your abilities in the game, because that'll just make things a lot easier, a lot faster, and in some regards is going to be required. But there you go, collecting 100 rings in total will give us the end of the level at this point. We don't have to go to a gold ring, the level just automatically ends. Completing the extra missions will give you another emblem to your score, so make sure you do these if you want to get 180 emblems. Alright, now we're here in Iron Gate for mission number 3, which is to find the Lost Chow. So as the name implies, there's a Chow hidden here in the level that we need to find. Once you find the Chow, then the mission will end. Now the hardest part about this set mission is that you kind of need to have a decent knowledge of the level layout, because these Chows are hidden in areas that you wouldn't normally go to. They can be very far off the beaten path, so it definitely helps knowing these stages a little bit in advance. But since this mission doesn't require you to get a certain score requirement for rankings, it only goes on time, we can go ahead and speed run through the stage and skip around here a bit using the hover ability as Eggman. We just want to complete this as fast as possible to get the best ranking. So here I'm going to go ahead and open this door, and from this point I'm actually going to take a different path, and we're going to make our way up to the top section of this area here, as this will lead us to a Lost Chow. So flying around the corner here, we will see a Mystic Melody Stone. We want to go ahead and interact with this to create a set of platforms. I should mention that all of the Lost Chow missions require you to have Mystic Melody, so I recommend having Mystic Melody obviously for this, but specifically I just recommend getting all of your character's abilities that you would think you need. So just basically come in here pretty much every power up for the characters, because that'll just make things a lot easier on you. Here we got another Mystic Melody Stone, so I'm going to go ahead and interact with this. doesn't really matter there we took damage, because since we don't have to worry about a score, I don't really care if we lose some ranks at this point. Go ahead and platform up here with the platforms that just spawned. And right here is our Chow. So let's go ahead, get to the Chow, and complete the mission. I should mention that if you are going to the Chow location in any other mission besides mission 3, instead of finding a Chow here, you will find an extra life. Alright, we're here in Wild Canyon for mission 4 here. Collect the emerald pieces in 2 minutes. So as you can see, mission 4 here is a time trial. We have a set amount of time that we can go ahead and make our way through the level before we fail. If the timer hits 0, then we fail the mission, have to start from the very beginning, and we don't want that. So we're going to try to go as fast as we can here, but we also need to be careful how many hints we use, because the hints here take away our score bonus, and we're back to having a high score required to get to the rankings. So we're going to try to move as fast as we can here, and also try to use as little hints as possible to maximize our score bonus for collecting these emerald shards. So go ahead and grab me the golden beetle over here to get me an extra 1,000 points, get a hint. Near 6 pillars tells us that's near the beginning, so we drop down to the beginning section. And hopefully it's not that far off. Near 6 pillars could mean it's near the bottom or the top of said pillars. So I'm going to fly back up a bit. Not that much. Okay. That wind tunnel is just too much at times. It's going to fall back down here. And we only have another minute, so I got to make this fast. Emerald shard should be around this section, according to my radar. There we go. It was inside one of the stone slabs, and I can already see the final emerald shard right above us. Luckily, we don't need a hint for this. So this mission can be easy or difficult depending on the character you play, and also depending on the random elements for the treasure hunting characters. So this is definitely a mission type I recommend kind of resetting on a lot for the treasure hunting characters to get better luck. Alright, so we're here in Radical Highway for our final mission type, which is the Clear Hard mode. As the name suggests, Hard mode here has you going through the same stage with a difficulty boost. So while the layouts of these stages don't change in Hard mode, other things in the stages can, like obstacle placement, enemy placement, and even enemy types. They can all be different now. And this can mess with your muscle memory. If you already have the stage memorized so you can get the best ranking, and you're relying on said enemy change in certain areas, things have changed up just enough where some of those strategies can no longer apply. So this time around, I'm going to try to focus on keeping my enemy combo up as much as I can, but also focus on getting a lot of rings and some extra powers to boost up my score. So here I'm going to jump around this building to get me some invincibility. If you don't go inside the building here and jump around it, there are balloons on the outskirts that you can go ahead and get, which give you powers. In this case, I want the invincibility, so we can get more points for killing enemies. Here we have new enemies here. We have some reappearing, vanishing robots that weren't here beforehand, but the enemy chain here is the same. For the most part, these hard mode versions of the stages, they don't really feel too much more difficult, if that makes sense. These stages, since the core design doesn't change, if you're already comfortable enough with going through the stages, then these different enemies may not even change the difficulty for you. It just kind of depends on the stage, in my opinion, on that front. To me, this stage, for example, really doesn't feel that much more difficult just changing around some of the enemies. It feels about the same. But in other stages, that could be a whole different argument. So the hardest part for me about this said hard mode change is trying to get to the A ranks. Since now the score requirements have changed per stage, and because the enemies also being different, that can mess with some of your strategies. Here, for example, the gold robot is moved, so I can't rely on the gold robot being on the top of the bridge in Radical Highway. So now, I have to figure out something else to do to get some extra points. Luckily though, in this stage, you don't really need to worry about the gold robot moving, and in fact, this gold robot moved in such a place that makes it easier for you to get him. So, just going through the required path, the gold robot is just near the end of the stage. He's actually an obstacle here that you can use to your advantage to not only more points, but to make platforming easier here at the end. So, I don't know why they moved him in such a place that made him easier to collect, but I'm thankful for it because it makes my job a lot easier to get to the A rank. But we're getting near the end of the stage now. All we gotta do is just get through this final section of loops, and then we'll be pretty much home free. As we can see though in this stage, they have also changed around the speed boost a little bit. Certain speed boosters make us move faster now, but it really doesn't feel different enough that it makes it difficult. It's just like, yeah, you know, it's a nice little tweak, but I don't know why you did it.
Here we go.
But with that, that completes the stage, and we should have more than enough points to get the A rank. Even though the score requirement was up tier, we still had more than enough points to still get the best ranking.
Victory.
Alright, we're here in Mad Space to take a look at the hard version of a treasure hunting stage, because out of the 3 different gameplay types, I feel the treasure hunting stages had the biggest change made to them. And in honesty, it makes things easier, not harder on the player, in my opinion. This is simply because, in the hard version of treasure hunting stages, your collectibles now are in set locations, they're not randomized. So if you know where all the emerald shards are in a stage, for example, you just go straight to that shard, and you don't even need to use a hint, which is going to maximize your score multiplier here. That's what we're going to be doing. I know exactly where all the emerald shards here are in Mad Space, so I'm going to come to the very top of the area, get me my first emerald, which is a perfect 2,000 bonus for not using any hints. Now we're going to make our way down to the giant moon here, and underneath the said moon is going to be another emerald shard. I got to fly very low to get this one, but now we got it. It's another perfect 2,000, and our final emerald is here on the small moon. I want to go ahead and do a spin jump up. And now I'm going to fly over to this platform, because on this platform is our final emerald shard. And that will make 3 collected, ending the mission. We didn't need to use a single hint here. And this maximized our score to the highest value we can get for all of the emerald shards. In my opinion, the hard mode version of treasure hunting stages are actually easier. Alright, we're here in Route 101 to talk about the mission types for the driving missions here in the game. So, the driving missions do have different set objectives for their different mission types, and missions 2 and 5 are still the same. Mission 2 is still to collect 100 rings in total, and mission 5 is still play a hard mode variant of this said level. But we're going to be taking a look at all of them because missions 3 and 4 are drastically different, and your strategies do change up for the 2 and 5 missions as well. So we'll just take a look at all of these. Mission 2, since it is collecting 100 rings, the best practice here is trying to get as many rings as you can in a trail, but mainly you want to go for these balloons, because the balloons here near checkpoints are going to have 30 rings in it. So getting those 30 rings is going to make a huge difference here, allowing you to get through things a lot faster. Now, every single mission type here in the route missions for both Tails and Rouge, they're all time-based, so you gotta do things as fast as possible if you do want to get the best ranking here. So, we're gonna be driving here as fast as we can, get this balloon, and that will make over 100 rings completing the mission. At this point, Tails just drives off on his own, and he can just do his own thing at this point, because we're done. Alright, we're here in Route 280 for mission number 3, which is to not hit any of the cars here in the said level. As you can tell with that tone, in my opinion, this is the hardest mission type in the game. And that's simply because these cars can be really difficult to avoid at times, and because of it, this is just kind of a tedious mission. If you hit a single car, it doesn't matter how you hit the car at all. If it barely clips you, you will fail the mission, and you have to start from the very beginning. So we want to be very careful here and avoid traffic as much as we can. Take advantage of drifting in your car, and to do a drift, let go of the gas for a moment, start moving around the analog stick, and then give your car gas once again, and now you will be drifting. Doing this gives you a lot better turning control, but it also allows you to easily get around these cars without having to worry about sideswiping around them by accident. In this case, I was so close to that car on the very edge of the road that I don't know if I would have made it with the stiff driving control that you get by default. So I just recommend drifting at all times, and to keep your drift, just wiggle the analog stick back and forth on the car, then you'll constantly be drifting. And in fact, in some ways, you actually gain some speed by doing this too. I did this in the main missions here for these levels because it does just make things a lot easier. Another thing to keep in mind is your brake. You're going to want to brake here whenever you get close to a car because there are just some moments where you can't get around a vehicle during a turn. So just let them go, and then when the path is clear, use the boost if you have some, and then get your speed back to go around the said vehicle. That's what I recommend doing in these kind of missions. Just play things carefully, brake when you need to, constantly drift, and keep a boost on standby if you need to get your speed back. But here I do want my speed, so I'm going to go ahead and use the boost. Careful of the blue car there, as he was right in front of the balloon I wanted. This black car is in a bad spot too, because he's around a bend, so I need to kind of work my way around him. I unfortunately missed out some rings, but it's fine, because honestly, going towards those rings on the left side probably would have put me in a bad position. We got some slopes up ahead, which will give me some speed back anyway, so I don't really need the boost to gain speed. Here, this part sucks. We're in a very narrow corridor, and there's no room! How are you supposed to avoid that? Dang car took up the whole lane, dude!
Just leave it to me.
Sir, stop taking up the whole lane. I need to go. And I swear, these tunnels are the worst part about the mission.
I must be getting closer.
Fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. Repeat, it is not fine. No, sir, 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 sir. Oh my god. Please move. My heart can only take so much.
A few moments later.
Quiet. Just leave it to me.
Dude, I didn't even hit him. Excuse, ref. I call foul. Dude, how are you supposed to avoid that? He takes the whole tunnel. I hate when you have a good attempt and a car just doesn't move. I hate when you're drifting around a corner and the car just randomly goes right. Thanks. I hate it. No, sir, sir! That's a first. I don't think I've ever collided with the wall and then fell through it. Come on, man. I need to go back to driver's ed. Why consider going back to school to learn how to drive? As you can kind of tell, this mission is not easy by any means necessary here. The biggest problem I have with Mission 3 for both Route 101 and Route 280 is just how the car placements line up. There are just some sections where you have basically no room to maneuver around these cars, whether they be in a tight corridor here in one of the tunnels or if they're in a very small stretch of the road. It really doesn't make things easy here, so a lot of the times the best strategy is to just kind of let the cars go, and then when you have an open stretch of road, that's when you speed up and get around the traffic. If you're trying to pass a car in a very tight corridor, you're just not going to be able to do it, because you just won't have enough space to move. The car's going to take up too much of the road, and how weird the hitboxes can be on these cars, as demonstrated by some of those failed clips. You could hit nothing and it can count as you hitting the car, and I really don't like that. The hitboxes in this level are really not that forgiving. Make up your mind, pick a lane and stick with it. That goes for you too. Just please stay out of my way. Again, there's really not much you can do about these cars. They kind of are on a set path, but I swear, half the time it feels random when they merge into a different lane or not. It's almost like real life. You already know which direction a car is going to go, and then they change their mind halfway through the trip in front of you, and then boom, they cut you off. That's what these missions feels like. This is such an extension of just real life driving. I didn't need this much realism in my Sonic game. Come on, the moon blows up. We don't need half realism. The moon's destroyed. Or is it? Later games told me it's not, so I'm a little confused here. Okay, blue car, please don't get in my way. Please don't get in my way. Thank you. And then this red sedan. Okay. I think it's a taxi. Let go gas. Get around him. Thank you for not taking up the whole tunnel. Yes, that's right. Clip out of bounds. I don't want you here. Hang on a second. I just thought of something. Why can the traffic go out of bounds but I'm not allowed? Man, this highway's selective. Man, imagine if you could just go out of bounds for this mission and just ride on the outskirts of the dang road. This wouldn't be that bad because then the traffic wouldn't be here. In fact, one better. Put the traffic outside. Just get rid of the cars. There you go. Now the mission's free because you can't fail. There's no traffic here to hit. And I would love that. But sadly, that's not the case. The traffic here being in very hard to maneuver spots is what really makes Mission 3 difficult. But we made it to the end at this point, so all we gotta do is catch up with Tails, and then we will complete the mission. And we definitely did things fast enough here to get that A rank. So since things here are based on time, we just needed to drive fast. And we drove fast enough to get the A. Alright, so we're here in Route 101 for Mission 4. Don't hit the walls, because if you hit the walls just like so, the mission ends and then you have to restart from the very beginning. So I find this one to be easier than not hitting any of the cars, but it can still be pretty difficult, and especially in Rouge's level. But here in Route 101, we don't have nearly as much traffic to worry about, which means we have more speed that we can go ahead and gain here, and that could actually be our detriment here. So we gotta be careful how much speed we have going around turns, because we don't want to clip a wall and end the mission immediately. Same kind of practice here applies into this mission, just like with Mission 3. Keep on drifting at all times and keep a boost ready to go ahead and regain speed when you need to slow down around a turn. So I'm going to just be very careful here and let go of gas from getting too close to the wall, because I don't want to collide into it for very obvious reasons. Making things a little slow around a corner and then getting my speed back with a boost is the way to go. So here I'm just going to go ahead and drift around this one a little bit carefully, get some speed back going back down the slope, and to get some more speed from a boost. Oh, we almost clipped the wall there. That was a little close. Things can be a little deceptive with how close you can be to a wall. It kind of just depends, really, because I swear with Tails' model, it's much harder to tell if I'm close to a wall or not because of the fins on the back of the blue tornado. So that kind of messes with me a little bit, but I'm going to just, not get as close to these walls as possible. It's a little nerve-wracking anytime I go into a checkpoint area to get the balloon for rings, because it's such a closed-off section. You don't have that much room to move around without whacking a wall by accident. And normally whacking a wall would just mean we slowed down, but notice how there's no traffic here. So luckily, having no traffic makes things a lot easier on us, because we don't even have to worry about a car being in our way this time around. But the walls in general are already enough of an obstacle, so I'm fine with this. It's just, a nice Sunday stroll on the highway with no traffic. I wish that was a real thing, because that's never the case if you actually drive on a highway. It's always bumper to bumper. Oh, how did that not count? Oh, okay, we take those. My back fin literally went through the wall, and that should have counted us getting hit, but the game says otherwise. I'll take it. There you go, we beat the mission. As you can tell, that was way easier compared to Mission 3, because outside of failing it on purpose to demonstrate what happens, we didn't fail it at all. So there you go. We made it to the mission fast enough to still get our A rank, and now we are done with Mission 4. Alright, we're here in Route 280 for our final mission type here, Clear Hard Mode. As the name implies, this is a harder version of the level, and it can't really change too much about a driving level here in the game, so there's only two real changes they made. One is that there's a lot more traffic on the road now, so you have a lot more cars you need to avoid. But we're allowed to hit the cars, so that doesn't really matter. So the actual problem here is the timer. You have a lot less time now to beat the stage. You only have about 4 minutes in total, and that's it. If the timer hits 0, then you fail and have to start from the very beginning of the level. So we want to go as fast as we can here to beat the mission, but we still want to try to get that A rank, so we're going to go as fast as we can to still get the good time bonus here. As we can see, because of how much more traffic is here, cars are going to go in locations they didn't normally go to in the standard version. So in the pit stop areas where you can get your extra set of rings for boost, you can see cars go in that area too, which can definitely make things a little bit worse, but we luckily can clip the cars here and we won't really lose too much speed, but if we run into a car directly, that's when we can lose a lot of momentum. So we're going to try to avoid traffic as much as we can, same for the walls, but don't feel bad if you do hit things, since we're not going to fail the mission immediately, just like with missions 3 and 4. There is some leeway here, and that's good, because imagine having to do missions 3 and 4 on top of mission 5. You can't hit anything, and you had less time to do it. That would just be torture. I never want to see that. Please don't do that, Sega. If you ever re-release the game again, do not make the hard mission harder. It's already hard enough.
Wait a minute. Be quiet. Just leave it to me.
Very careful here, go around the corners, just trying to avoid these cars to keep our speed. Luckily, going down the hills will give us some speed back as well, which definitely helps. Give me a boost, Definitely want to use that at this point and just shimmy around this traffic. I just love drifting around these corners as much as I can because we do get a little bit of extra speed when you do drifting. Not by much, but it's definitely enough to make a difference. Plus our turning is so much better anyways. The turning by default in these cars is just terrible. So drifting all the time is the way to go if you want decent handling. Because otherwise these cars kind of move around like tanks. They just can barely turn left and right. We're getting near the end of the stage here. We only have a handful of tunnels to go through in like another major chunk, and that's pretty much it. We're getting near the end. So I'm gonna keep that speed going here, try to get some more rings, get one final boost going. Got enough boost, but I'm gonna hold on to it here for a moment because we do have these slopes up ahead, which can kind of kill our speed. So I'm gonna turn the corner, and on the first slope, I'm gonna go ahead and use that boost. At this point, we have made it to the end of Route 280. So all we gotta do is just drive this last section, get one more thing of boost, and catch up the tails to end the level. And we should have cleared this fast enough to still get an A rank. If you're trying to beat this under the time limit that you're now given, you're probably gonna get higher rankings compared to, say, D's or C's. You'll probably get A's or B's because of how tight the timing can really be. But there you go, we got an A rank, and we have now played at least one of every extra mission here in the game.
Stage select.
That's going to conclude today's video. As we can see, there's a lot of stuff that you can do once you beat the story mode here in all these stages. Completing the first mission unlocks more missions for you to do. In order for us to unlock more, obviously we need to beat said missions to continue forward. So there's just a lot for you to do here, and because of this, this game can kind of last you for quite some time. But that's not all we have to do here in the game. So with that said, next time we meet up, we're going to go ahead and do some kart racing. Just when you thought you were done with the driving levels, there's a whole new set of driving courses for you to make your way through. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.